Garza Law, Tennessee baseball extra innings. First one of the year. No preseason for us. Straight into the action. Tennessee baseball wraps up the series in Arlington with a 3-1 victory over the Virginia Tech Hokies. They finished the weekend 2-1. They lose to UCLA on Friday night and win the next two. Yesterday against Arizona State, Tennessee baseball's best win to date. That was a score of 5-3, and a pitcher's duel today. Only 7 hits total in the game. Tennessee gets the win, 3-1. Duke transfer Mark Hindy gets his first win of the season. He's 1-0. Braden Krenzel gets the save. He was phenomenal over, I believe it was 3 full innings of work. Yeah, he was. He was phenomenal. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Feels good to get a win, especially the way the weekend started. I'll give a few takes and then we'll jump right into the phones because it's been a long while since I've done this. I'm excited to be back with you guys. I love baseball season. A lot has changed since we've done a Garza Law extra innings. Before I give my thoughts, Matt Dixon, would you like to issue an opening statement to kick us off for the 2026 extra innings program?
Yeah, I mean, you got two wins on the weekend, which were really needed, especially yesterday against Arizona State, which is a good team. You played a pretty clean game and won a competitive game, and you did that again today. Kind of strange for a Sunday pitcher's duel, but that's what you got it, and you found a way to have some key at bats and got a lucky bounce off second base for one of those, but a really good weekend overall. You know, tough loss to UCLA, but they're the best team in the country, and they kind of showed why and just hammered your pitching for the home runs, and especially with two outs. But I actually thought Tennessee's approach to the plate was pretty good in that game as well, even though they lost and were really non-competitive. But no, a really good weekend overall, and it's good to get two wins. You had to get a couple of wins down there. That was kind of much needed for just the vibe of the team.
If you had to give a letter grade, Matt, for the weekend and the season so far, well, just the weekend. Just the weekend. I'm sure we'll get into the season once we get some callers in here on what we've seen so far. But give me a weekend letter grade for you.
I'd get a solid B. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, your pitching let you down against UCLA, but they kind of kept you in the game, and they won the game today, and kept you in it yesterday. So I'd give it a B. You won two games, and you played pretty well and pretty clean baseball for the most part.
I agree, and I hopefully that Virginia Tech and Arizona State both have solid seasons from here on out, so that those prove to be really solid non-conference Power Four wins. Because that could be crucial when you get later in the season and are really comparing resumes and that sort of thing. But we're a long way to go from there. Ultimately, you needed to win a series. I know it's a tournament, but you go 2-1. You kind of get the taste of Kent State out of your mouth. I agree with the B grade. I'll go there. Uh, it's more fun to win a 2-run game like 10-8, Matt. I think that's fair. But 3-1, it doesn't feel great, but after Friday, you played really clean defensively. Yesterday and today were both really clean defensively. You threw the ball better from behind the plate, cut down on the free passes from the pitchers compared to a week ago. But the hitting is still struggling, and I think that's going to be harped on plenty, and I'm sure we'll get more into it. But it's good to be back, man. It's good to be back, and it's good to do it off of a win, however it may be. I don't care how it comes. 1-0, 3-1, 10-12, whatever. There's a lot to dissect so far through 11 games, but Tennessee finishes today at 8-3, and they will head back to Knoxville and get ready for, I believe, East Tennessee State, Matt, this Tuesday, which is always probably the best midweek of the year. And then this weekend, Wright State, really good mid-major level team who everybody around here will always remember because of the walk-off home run from Drew Gilbert. And I believe the last time there was a series here against Wright State, they actually won it. So Tennessee Will be very interested to see them come back to Lindsey Nelson Stadium or not, but we'll see. Let me go to the phones. Hopefully, I do this correctly, Matt. Uh, I hope it's Dave.
Sorry to disappoint. This
Welcome
is
in.
not
You're on the
Dave.
air.
Sorry to disappoint. This is not Dave.
That's all right.
It's Andrew Marable.
Even better. How are you, Andrew Marable?
I'm doing good, man.
What's on your
Am I
mind?
echoing on your end? Am I coming through?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, really good way to come back and get these last two wins. I'm not gonna, lose sleep over the UCLA loss. They look dominant. So really good to get that and see a couple of guys like Newstrom and Clark get back on track. That was really huge for them. And I just think our approaches at the plate were a lot, I think we, instead of swinging for the fences every time, we were just trying to get some hits and string something together. That's a huge improvement from last weekend.
I still saw some big swings today.
Oh, yeah, definitely did.
But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Well,
it's just they're in a early season slump. My hope is that it's a slump and not who they are. You know what I mean? But we won't know until they either work their way out of it or look the exact same another 11 games from now.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's fair or not, I think we all probably look back on the 24 and 22 teams just for comparison to see where we might stand up. And those two teams, the thing I remember was even when they weren't scoring, they were all. It seemed like every inning they were threatening with a runner or two on base. And last weekend we didn't really see that, and this week I thought we had a lot more innings where we put some pressure on the pitchers.
Yeah, I mean you got to have traffic to create big innings. That's the thing. Most of your big innings start with first and second, nobody out. You get the first two guys on, whether it's you work a walk or get a base hit and then a walk or something like that. That's where the crooked numbers come. It's hard to piece it together, especially when you're not hitting home runs. That's the other thing. The power, I don't know where that's gone. I know there were a couple balls that probably would have been out of at Lindsey Nelson this weekend. But even last year when they went to Houston, they hit 6 or 7 home runs, and the only home run this weekend was Newstrom, which was actually Friday in the game they lost. So when you're not banging the ball out of the yard, that means you got to string it together. And when you're constantly getting the first out of the inning from your leadoff hitter, then it's hard. It's even harder, right? You got to get a couple on and be able to manufacture. And when they've done that, they've been better as of late. I'll give you that of manufacturing, but still, just I need to see more constant pressure, and better at bats overall, and being able to string them together. I just don't. I know they don't have the lineup completely set how they want it yet, but I think Josh needs to mix it up a little bit more. Before they head to Georgia, and getting Grimmer and Wright back will certainly make a difference. But you've got too many pockets in the lineup right now where it's 2 guys or 3 guys that are really struggling, and it's like zero pressure.
Yeah.
And you're able to get matched up, too easily, with either back-to-back lefties or a reverse split righty or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's been weird seeing the lineups almost flip-flop each weekend. The guys that were bad the previous one or have good weekends here. Jay was really good last week. He kind of really struggled against high velo here, and then I thought Brown and Ford got back on track, but then Reese Chapman's still kind of struggling. I was going to ask you because you'll know better than any of us. When Tony was here, did Elander set everything when it came to maybe approaches at the plate? Did Tony get his hand in there, or was it just all Elander? And do you think we're seeing anything different now than what we might have seen last year in terms of the instruction?
No, not instruction wise. I mean, Tony set the lineup,
right?
Which is something that comes with experience, being able to pinpoint guys who you may be able to challenge or plug a guy in and it be successful. And he's had 11 games under his belt, so not enough sample size to know that that's something he will be a wizard at yet or not. But No, but I mean, even before now, Elander was running the show in terms of offensive philosophy, and everything that was taught was kind of built from those two together. I mean, they had been together before they were even here, so it was really the same voice, regardless of who you were hearing it from. So I wouldn't imagine anything offensively, just from approach and preparation standpoint, is any different. Which is why it's so surprising at how they've struggled early on.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good question, though.
I was gonna, yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you about the, the two lefties we saw the last couple of days with Hendy and then Appenzeller. I was kind of surprised we didn't see Appenzeller at all last weekend. So I was glad they got him out there and getting that 2 inning save. He looks he looks like a freshman physically. You see him in the face, but he pitches more mature than that. And that back foot slider he has to the righties, he got 2 or 3 just silly swings and misses on those.
Yeah, that slider will play.
Yeah.
That slider will play. Doesn't matter how old you are. Matt, do you like what you've seen from the lefties out of the pen so far? Even, I mean, I know Arvidsson wasn't good Friday, but we know what he is, right?
Appenzeller and then Hendy has been in some of the highest leverage spots from your bullpen and has come through in a big way for you. So no, I've been really impressed with both of those guys, and those are two really good. We obviously knew how talented Appenzeller is, and he's kind of shown it to date. So him and then those two have been really good and were today. And then also, I mean, Krenzel has just been really good at that double play ball. You can never have too many ground ball pitchers, especially in Lindsey Nelson. So no, I was really impressed with those lefties.
Krenzel makes me nervous, man. I really like him, I really do, but you know immediately what you're gonna get. Like it's either like today where he could probably go for 3, 4 more innings and they don't have a chance, or it's like he doesn't have a chance. I mean, there's no in between with Krenzel. But
It's
today,
almost like his stuff is too good that he can't control it sometimes with the amount of movement he gets on his heater.
yeah, maybe, and it's early, and the day he was bad was that awful weather day, so maybe that played a role into it. But even last year, it was kind of like he was missing bats and barrels completely, or he completely wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, Andrew, thank you for the call, brother.
Yeah.
Baseball season's
Appreciate
back,
y'all
baby.
doing the show.
Yeah, man. Hope to talk to you soon. Be good. Matt, outside of Hindi and Appenzeller, even after Friday, I've kind of been I don't know, I guess more optimistic on the bullpen than some others, especially last year was really 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 just not good from the bullpen. But I think put the two low scoring games where you won because of the pitching staff aside. I like what they have. I just think they have more versatility. Frederick can be used in a lot of different ways. We've seen Hindi is good in different kinds of moments. They thought Rudy was going to be the closer, and he kind of struggled a little bit. But if he gets going, he could be another piece, kind of that more power righty option. I think they've got a unique bullpen, which could be extremely effective.
Yeah, and the versatility that they kind of preached on that they were going to make after last year, where they just, like you said, weren't good. They have some of that versatility and some unique stuff. Obviously, Frederick's probably the most unique, but yeah, they've got some different variations and some options. And you mentioned Arvidsson; he's the guy who could easily be a starter. It may eventually be, who knows? But that's a guy that's got unbelievable swing and miss stuff from the left side. So yeah, I like what you've got there. You've got plenty of options, and you've got plenty of guys who you just got to figure out roles for. But yeah, I like what you have in the bullpen. They haven't been great to date, but yeah, they should be able to figure out how to get be able to get some outs, because I do think your starters are going to be pretty solid and give you those 5+ innings just about every time out, it feels like.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you've seen from the rotation so far. I think it's really good. I think Mack is probably your ace, but he and Coons are a nice tandem. And then Blanco's kind of that steady veteran on Sunday.
Yeah, I really like having a guy like Blanco on Sunday. That's kind of a luxury, even though he's a little bit shaky with command here early in the season. But yeah, I mean, Kuhn's got tagged pretty good, but that's a good lineup. That gives you some of that fire and intensity that it feels like this team's probably lacking a little bit of from position players. You don't see a lot of the fiery stuff, but Mac's been really good. The one thing about him that's kind of interesting that I was going to ask you about, he seems to struggle with runners on base more than usual. And even going back last year, I was looking, a high batting average against when he has runners on. So I don't know if he does something different from the stretch, but he does tend to have a little bit of command issues when he gets guys on. But he was certainly dealing yesterday pretty well, and getting the crowd fired up, which was kind of fun to see and really much needed. I do think that the kind of laid back nature of Elander, kind of, it obviously, goes into the team a little bit, but I like Max fire, and you always need a few guys like that.
Yeah, you need a few, but I like Elander's demeanor. I think that'll help him more than it hurts him, but I see what you're saying. Let's go back to the phones real quick. Welcome in. You're on the air. Garza Law Baseball Extra Innings.
Guys in here competing with a really beautiful day. I couldn't resist. Did either one of you see Levi Clark being that kind of a catcher? And Matt, was that on your radar that they were going to throw him out there today? Because he looked really comfortable, guys.
No, I thought he was solid. It's interesting. His two best games at the plate this year have been the games he was the catcher. So I don't know if there's any correlation there, but because he's obviously struggled at the plate for much of the year. I thought the sac fly yesterday for the insurance run was really big for his confidence, and he came up with a big RBI double today. But no, he was really good. Threw that guy out in the first, which I'm not sure Marin actually tagged him, but he sold it pretty well. So you got the call because the guy was out by 5 feet. But it's, Stone Lawless has struggled behind the plate, but actually has been okay as a hitter for you. But I mean, Clark's got to be in your lineup somewhere. He's just been probably the guy that struggled the most this year so far.
Are you surprised, Will, that he looked that comfortable from a pitching standpoint when you watched him sort of, and granted it was a low-scoring game, but when you watched him, framing pitches, that sort of thing, what did you think of him behind the dish tonight?
I was really impressed. I didn't even realize it was him until the broadcast crew said that it was him back there, and I was like, okay. So maybe I just didn't watch that closely the other times he had caught, but the arm looked good. He caught it well, and Matt's totally right. He did. His at-bats looked good, and they were trending in the right direction. He doesn't have the results to show for it, but he hit 3 that I can remember on the screws this weekend that didn't get out, that may have in college ballparks, and if anything, you would like to be a double. But he's somebody they need, and Elander's clearly not going to move him. That's his guy, and so they need him to get going ASAP. Just plain and simple. Plain and simple.
But you know what, guys? When you think about it, and Matt, you and I were talking about this on the postgame last night. We were promoting that this is going to be going on a 75-degree sunny afternoon. But the fact that this guy has been such a light hitter to this point, if you can put him at catcher and get him off first base, if he could do that, then he could go in and out a little bit as a hitter, and you could get away with it, right? I mean, this would really be kind of a good thing, right? If they could somehow figure out a way to let him catch, if he could hold that down back there.
Yeah, I still think you probably need him at first long term for the team's potential, because I think Garrett Wright, who hasn't caught yet and has only played once in center field, I think he's got a chance to be a pretty good catcher. We've not seen him at all take swings, but he's the MAC Defensive Catcher of the Year. But it was clear. I mean, Stone Lawless really struggled those first 2 weekends. Maybe the cold played into that as well, but some of his throws down the second weren't even close. That Kent State team really took advantage of that. But yeah, if you can put Clark, if it's weird that moving the guy to catcher actually has helped him at the plate, because it's usually the other way around. So I'll be curious to see how they handle that going forward.
Hey, you know what that tells me, Matt? He's got too much going on up here, and you had to give him something else to think about. For
Nice.
sure. You know what I mean? But, hey,
No, it's true.
Yeah. 865-200-5402 if you want to jump in, say hey to us. Baseball season is back.
You're not done with me yet, are you? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm done with you, Tony.
What are we doing here? Hey, listen, I got to ask you another thing. And Will, this is for you.
Okay.
Because I've got a little concern about our manager, and I'm not trying to stir it up yet on him, but when a relief pitcher is struggling like Friday, you cannot leave these guys out there and let them work through it. The one thing Tony was pretty good about was going out there and getting people. And look, I don't think Tony was the greatest in-game manager. I don't think any of us do. He was more of he could make you play out of your mind and trick you into doing things you didn't think you were capable of doing and all that stuff. But what I saw Friday's game was gettable. You cannot leave somebody out there to work through something unless I missed what I was seeing on Friday. Is that a fair criticism or no?
No, that was fair. That was fair. You're talking about they made it 5-4, and Brandon Arvidsson, who everybody knows is my guy on the staff. I love Brandon Arvidsson. I think he's a big leaguer. He clearly did not have it, and they let him kind of wear it in a one-run game, and it's you can't do that right there. That was a learning moment, but I don't know that it was necessarily yes, it was a Tony thing, but Frank Anderson was such a valuable piece in the dugout for stuff like that. And so Elander, he's got Geralman, he's got good people around him, but that's just a part of learning on the job. And you could be doing it for 30 years and leave a guy in too long. Or pull a guy too quickly. You don't know until the outcome happens. So that one didn't work out, but I think that one seemed pretty obvious. He doesn't have it right now, and UCLA is not the lineup to let a guy go figure it out against. Know what I mean?
All organizations are different, guys. I wonder how that manager or head coach relationship with the pitching coach works in this instance. Because they're all different, as we know. And Matt, you and I have talked about this in the past, how much of it was Tony, how much of it was Frank. And then in particular, this particular case, I know you guys will both dig on it, how much of it's Josh and how much of it's Josh. Because Reynolds, certainly is going to have a ton of say on when we see Elander pop out of the dugout.
Yeah. Well, as disagreeable as we are with Friday's decision, yesterday and today was literally perfect, Tony. I thought he should have got Appenzeller out of there yesterday early, and he stuck with him, and the kid dominated. So, you know what I mean? He's got to know his team. He's got to know his team the best. So we can nitpick at the end of it, but that's got to be on him all day. Tony, thank you so much for the call, sir. Enjoy your Sunday. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule.
Get blown up on my own network. You got to love that. Thanks, guys.
We got a couple callers we got to get to, and that guy certainly gets to talk enough, Matt Dixon. Before we go back to the phones real quick, I want to thank Proper Popcorn, our first sponsor of the year. Whatever your popcorn needs, if you need a big old bag, a tin, a party pack, they've got all the flavors. The s'mores is absolutely gas, as you young kiddos like to say today. Proper Popcorn, phenomenal, phenomenal product. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Good peeps over there. 865-200-5402 if you want to check in with us. Let's go back to the phones real quick. Matt, Tony with some surprisingly good points there, brother. Welcome in. You are on the air.
Hey, Will. Hey, Matt Taylor. That previous caller, he sounds very familiar. Had lots of great points. His voice sounds much better as a caller than as a host, though.
Kind of a ball knower, huh?
Yep, no doubt. Will, all the hit by pitches this year. I'm assuming Tennessee probably leads the nation in hit by pitches.
I don't know, Taylor.
Well, is that a change in philosophy?
I don't know.
Is Wren going inside more? I thought Frank liked to pound the ball inside, but this is just kind of almost absurd.
I don't know.
Matt, what do you think?
Matt, me and Matt were talking about this earlier in the week. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I guess
it's
I guess it's
interesting.
pitching inside, but like Blanco's last one today was a fastball away, and he hit the guy in the back. So that clearly wasn't just a result of pounding the ball inside. I mean, the catcher was set up away; it just got away from him. I don't know.
I mean, I kind of took the Kent State 10 hit by pitches as that's a Kent State thing. They crowd the plate. They all wear elbow guards. But anyway, it just seems like it's starting to be an issue, and couldn't put my finger on if that was a change in philosophy with Josh Reynolds or what, or it's starting to be a bit concerning to put all those free men on the base. But also, I guess other things I note, Blaine Brown, that guy has a tremendous bat, but he never saw a pitch that he didn't like. I'm sure they're working on it, but that guy's got to cut down on his swinging out of the zone.
He ain't up there to take, is he? Matt, what's the deal with Brown? It seems like change-ups, he sees big and chases low. The fastball's up sometimes, okay, but he can get on top of those. Really, the ones that look bad to me are the change-ups.
Yeah, all the off-speed stuff. Yeah, he's never been cheated out of a swing, that's for sure. And he's hit a couple of, just kind of infield pop-ups at times this year. But Andrew Fisher did that some last year, too, early in the year.
Did he?
No, he doesn't, you'd like to see him be a little bit more patient. He does chase a lot, and there's just a lot of swing and miss in his bat with how much he puts into every swing. So that will be, something to watch for, especially once teams kind of have a scout on him and know where his weaknesses are. He'll definitely have to clean up some of the swing decisions.
Taylor, let me spin this around on you, okay? Sometimes the scattering report gets out on you as a hitter, and for a while, like we're seeing now, they know that he'll chase change-ups down, and they're going to attack him with heaters up. But in a couple weeks, if he's developing as he should and getting into the season, knowing your scouting report as a hitter almost helps you have a better plan because you know what they're going to try to do, right? Does that make sense? And
well,
so almost,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like knowing what your scouting report is almost as beneficial to you as it is to the pitcher trying to use it, because then it makes it a little bit easier to know, hey, in this spot, I get this pitch 80% of the time from righties or something like that. And so that could tie you up, or it could be good info and, see the ball up in the zone in those spots where he's chasing down, or if it's a spot where he's been getting a ton of fastballs up, then he can know, hey, I need to see it in the shorts. So it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit, but you'd like to see him kind of get an idea of what they're trying to do to him and maybe recognize those a little bit better out of the hand. But he certainly hasn't seen one that he doesn't like yet.
And he's got a beautiful swing, Will and Matt. There's no doubt. He's got a absolutely beautiful swing, and certainly, I have been impressed. Sometimes he's able to catch up with those fastballs high now the zone. But I guess if I'm Georgia and knowing their head coach, in 2 weeks I am not throwing a strike to Brown, and I'm throwing Clark everything above the belt. That's my next question is, why would anybody with any scout, you can do a 3-minute scout read and realize you don't throw Clark anything below the belt. I think that's going to be problematic. Brown, don't throw anything in the strike zone. Clark, everything mid or high. He can't catch up with it right now with that upper swing plane he's got. Am I missing something? Is that correctable, or you just live with it, and when they miss down, he's going to crush it?
It's correctable, but your scouting report is right. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to come to that conclusion, but you're at the right spot. It's real uphill for Levi, Matt. I don't want to get in here and get real mechanical, but hitters are going to be what they are. There's some hitters that hammer the ball down in the zone their whole career, and there's some balls that like it up. I remember when Mike Trout was kind of taking the league by storm. The initial thought was, hey, don't throw it at the knees. He'll kind of golf it out. And they tried to attack him with heaters up. And then over time, he started hammering those. And so that's just something Levi's got to continue to get better at. And I don't know. There's a fine line between swinging at a ball up in the zone, because if it's in the zone, he can elevate it and hit it a long way, right? So a mistake up in the zone to him would be detrimental. But if it's just above the hands and he swings through it, he's got no chance. So that's how they should attack him. But he could also flip that around on its head too.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing, I think about Christian Moore, and I think about Blake Burke, and the huge jumps both of those individuals made from their sophomore years to their junior years.
Yeah.
I would hate to be any coach having a junior Blaine Brown and a junior Levi Clark and have to worry about pitching to them in the 27 season. I know that's a ways away, but I think we have to remind ourselves these are still sophomores. Last thing, Ariel Antigua, I think that guy's glove is pretty special, but I'm about to the point of I give him 2 or 3 more spot starts. He doesn't show me anything at the plate. He's a career late inning defensive replacement. What are your thoughts on that? Love the show, GBO.
Thanks, Taylor. Good to hear from you, Matt. What would you do? What would you do there?
It's hard to argue with Taylor's point. I mean, the guy just hasn't been able to hit in games. And he hadn't really been healthy until this year, and he coming off a good off season, but he kind of struggled early. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure he can be an everyday starter, especially because it does seem like he's willing to kind of accept that role as a late defensive sub guy. At least he has in the past, and he's not transferred or anything, but he's not been able to produce at the plate. Now he beat out that single today that started that rally. I mean, he's the first guy that reached there with 2 outs in the third today, and wound up scoring in that inning. But it's just been a struggle for him at the plate. And as good as he is defensively, and it's frustrating because as many of those wow plays that he makes, a lot of times those wow plays don't actually even result in outs. And it's kind of been frustrating because he does still occasionally boot balls and things too. But he's, a phenomenal fielder when he's locked in. But at some point you have to at least hit, especially since they moved him off of shortstop and he's kind of playing second and he's not at that premier defensive spot with Marin right now.
Yeah. As good as Marin was at shortstop this weekend, it'd be an uphill battle to get Ariel in any one of my lineups going forward. But that being said, I mean, you're right. The talent is there. They said he was one of the best hitters all fall, maybe the MVP. But fall don't count for the stat sheet, unfortunately, for him. Got to do it in the regular season. So we'll see how that shakes out. I'm sure, like Taylor said, he'll get some spot starts, and who knows, maybe something clicks. But for right now, I don't see it. Let's go back to the phones. Welcome in. You're on the air. Garza Law, Tennessee Baseball, Extra Innings.
Hey, Will, Jake from Memphis. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you? Good to hear from you.
Doing well, buddy. Doing well. Yeah, first time speaking with you since the passing of Wes, and just want to offer my condolences, man. And I know he'd be proud listening to this, and I appreciate you carrying on the torch, buddy.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, horrible.
Now, been thinking about them a lot and praying. I hope everyone listening continues to do so for that family. But no, thank you. Thanks a lot, Will. And man, I just want to get your thoughts on specifically Cam yesterday and his performance. I haven't been able to listen to all of your shows, so I apologize if you already talked about it, but I came away super impressed with him specifically for the weekend.
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Cam Appenzeller.
Oh, yeah, we touched on it for a second, but he was phenomenal. And Matt mentioned that he was surprised he didn't throw last weekend, and Elander was asked in the postgame after last weekend kind of why, and it was an odd answer that almost led me to believe that he was dealing with some sort of soreness, but he had also thrown, I believe it was like 2 1/3 in the midweek. So he probably wasn't even available until Saturday or Sunday, and then Sunday was so cold, it was like if you've got any soreness, you're not throwing on a day like that. So it was certainly good to see him out there this weekend, and then you throw on top of it, hey, it's going to be a one-run game when you come in. Now, he ultimately got one insurance run before he closed the door, but one-run game against Arizona State in about as not a must-win, but hey, we really need this win for
Oh, yeah.
our confidence and trajectory of the season. He was phenomenal, and he was ranked where he was for a reason, and I think a lot of people were surprised he even made it to campus. But you can see why he is such a highly valued prospect. So they'll continue using him. I don't know that we don't see him in some sort of spot start at some point in the year, especially if they're able to stay in Hoover for a couple days or something like that. Maybe somebody needs a week rest or something like that. He would be an option to throw him out there as a starter and see how he does. But I'd like to see him extended, see if you can get like a piggyback type start out of the bullpen from him. But he'll be a weapon,
Yeah.
and you got to have it. You got to have an elite lefty. I think of Volantis at Texas last year. Arkansas had two of them. LSU's really good teams had who was it? Ackenhausen, and then the kid from A&M a couple years ago was just phenomenal. And then Tennessee's had a few in the past, just super reliable lefties out of the bullpen. So you got to have them, and I think they've got three good ones. They've got Hindi, and then Appenzeller, and then Brandon Arvidsson. So I really like where we're at lefty-wise.
I was just about to say that. It looks like it's lining up to have that type of lefty in each start over the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you got, like you said, Arvidsson, Appenzeller, Hindi, and the way Hindi looked today. I mean, yeah, I'm very encouraged by the pitching staff. I think the offense will come. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, if you keep track around the league, LSU struggling offensively, Arkansas. I mean, a lot of the top guys in the league are struggling offensively. So, it'll come for us. And we got some big tests coming up before conference play that will kind of kind of keep us sharp as we head into conference play. But looking forward to it. Will, good talking to you, Matt. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the call, man. Matt, did you hear that? He brought up other teams in the SEC and made a rational thought around it. Like, I didn't know we were allowed to do that. I thought we just had to.
You mean Tennessee's not the only team that struggles and doesn't play perfect baseball the first month of the season?
Oh, we were the only team that did. But, yeah, I thought that was a real good point. We should remember that, Matt.
Yeah.
You don't go 20-0 in February every year.
Yeah, and these teams change so much between now and June. I mean, just because of just all the experience you get. And I mean, so many teams, especially northern teams, have barely practiced outside. So a lot of situational stuff is just nobody's really good at it this early in the year.
Hey, Matt, LSU won the national championship last year, right?
Unfortunately,
do you remember what national seed they were?
It was towards the bottom of the national seeds, wasn't it? I mean, they were they weren't were they a top 8?
It was 6. They were a top 8. And I believe Coastal was like 11 or 12. I think they were 11. And that would have made them play LSU. They were like 10. And the top 5 were Vanderbilt 1, didn't make it out of their regional. Texas 2, didn't make it out of their regional. Auburn 3, I believe. No, Arkansas 3. They made it to Omaha, but they didn't win it. They didn't get to the final series either. Auburn was 4, lost in their regional to Coastal. No, I'm sorry, lost in Supers to Coastal. And then North Carolina was 5. They lost in Supers to Arizona, and then LSU was 6. So, yeah, it's baseball. It's back, baby. We've had some craziness. It is a balanced year. And I know UCLA's looked really good, and I've kind of looked dumb for kind of tooting the horn that I don't think they're all that this past week, and they've kind of shoved that in my face. But I stand on they don't have the arm. Like, they may be the number 1 team right now, but I don't think they're the best team in the country, and I don't think they'll win the national championship. I think it is wide open, baby. So, Vols just got to keep getting better. That's my long-winded way of saying that, Matt. Let's get back to the phones. Again, 865-200-5402 if you want to hang out with us. We're not doing this long. It's first one of the season. We'll be off next week. Wright State comes to town, and then we'll do extra innings, Garza Law extra innings after the Georgia game on Sunday which will open up SEC play 2 weeks from today. Let's see. Welcome in. You are on the air.
Hey guys, it's Nick from Amarillo. How y'all doing?
Amarillo. You said Nick?
I'm outside the stadium. It's a good little showing today.
How was it in there today, Nick?
Yeah, we had better showing yesterday. I've been here all 3 days. Yesterday was a better day in terms of showing, but it was dead in the morning.
Yeah, that 10:30 local start time. It looked pretty. Both offenses were asleep, and I don't know that either one ever really woke up.
Yeah, it's tough. I was able to tell Danny White a few things on Friday that I feel perfect to say, but about losing 20 balls. But it was a great weekend overall. It was a good weekend for baseball. Friday just wasn't a great. Man, we just looked bad, but we'll be back. I believe in us.
Yeah, it was 3 errors, and it probably could have been more on Friday, and that was worrisome. They needed to play as clean as they did yesterday and today. The infield defense the last 2 games, Matt, best I've seen it in a while.
Yeah, it's been really good. You're able to turn a couple of double plays today.
I mean, Manny is really good at short. He's not hitting a lick right now, which I think will come around. The swing is there, the hand speed's there. For everybody worried about Manny, he's got a hand injury. You can't hit with a hand injury. It's just you got to give him some grace there. But he's been unreal at shortstop.
He's solid. I don't feel concerned about like a ball. In the past couple of years, like we may be an error, but no, this team. It looks like we can turn some. We're fielding better. And we're doing better about holding the guys on base. I know today we sat right across, right behind the dugout in Polanco. I know he threw over a little bit too much what I like, but he's holding them. He's holding them on first. It wasn't just like 3 runs or 3 bases every time.
Matt, that's karma on us. We gave Phillips and Snead was slow. Who else was slow? We couldn't hold runners for anything. And we complained about it all the time, and now they're gonna pick off 35 times a game.
Yeah,
and we can't say anything about it. We can't.
Yeah,
because we complained that they weren't holding runners, and by God, they're holding them now.
Got a really good pickoff move for a righty. I'm not sure it's quite Drew Beam-esque, but it's pretty dang good. Even a lefty like you has to appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean it's a balk, but they're not calling it, so keep doing it until they call it.
Yeah, you're right. It is karma. It's like we're throwing a little. It's like, okay, we're throwing enough to like show. We're going to throw back. I was like, we complained before, and I was like, okay, my bad. We're getting like a happy medium somewhere, and we'll get there. But it was overall it was a good showing today. A good little crowd. Thought I called in. It was it's an easy venue. I bought 2 tickets for $160 for all 3 days, and
there you go.
I mean, you can walk anywhere. I mean, it's general admission, so you can sit wherever. So it's it's better than that Houston venue last year where you can only sit so many places in the general admission. But this is a cool venue. If you want to get close to the team early in the year, this is the venue.
Are you going back in for that Mississippi State UCLA tout?
Yeah, they were the Mississippi. And the Mississippi State they roll deep as well. They're deeper than we are in terms of numbers. But yeah, I'll probably hang around and watch that one. I don't want to say any of them stuff. Those guys drive me. There was a guy this morning who's complaining, our game starts at 7, tonight. Stop throwing over. And I was like, man, come back later in the night. I don't care about you. It was just a pain. But A&M fans are A&M. That's how they are. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'll probably watch more baseball. But it was a great venue overall. If anybody just wants to see early and get close to them, this is the venue for this tournament.
Yeah, smart man. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for the call, brother.
Oh, thanks, guys. You have a good day.
Be good. Let's go back to the phones. Good to have somebody on site there, Matt. Welcome in. This is Garza Law Extra Innings. You're on the air.
Hey, Matt and Will. This is Gary. How you guys doing?
Hey, brother. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is my favorite time of the year, Will.
Me too.
Love when college baseball starts, and we're coming up on March Madness. So
yeah, I'm kind of over basketball, but I hope everybody gets to enjoy it.
After last night, I went to my first basketball game of the year last night, so that one was on me.
Truly apologize. It's not your fault. Somebody needs to tell you that, or maybe it is. Well, I don't know. Maybe you feel better if you do act like it's your fault.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I'll take that. I'll take the blame for it, and we'll just move on, and hopefully everybody's okay. But hey, I think 2 out of 3 for this weekend. That's a pretty good get, don't you guys think?
I don't know that we could have asked for much more, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, your one loss was to the number 1 team in the country. Would you have liked this final score to be better? Yeah, but it was a 1-run game in the 7th. So it steamrolled late. They beat the living hell out of
every
A&M
run came
yesterday.
with 2 outs too. They were incredible with 2 outs. They just kept mashing the ball.
Yeah, and they capitalized on our errors. We made three errors and a couple other miscues that don't technically go down as errors, and they capitalized on them. That's what good teams do. So, we had to play our A game to win that game, and we did not, so we lost. But we played well yesterday and today, and 2-1 is anytime you go to a tournament like that, 2-1's phenomenal. I mean, the 24 team went 2-1 in this deal.
And how did we do last year? Do you remember when we went to Houston? Was it
they swept?
We win all 3?
Yeah, last year we started 20-0.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And we played our worst. We played our worst baseball at the end of the year. So I don't want to go 20-0. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I don't want to play my best baseball in February.
I think this is a good team. I think this is going to be a team that gets better throughout the year. Once Josh kind of finds his way a little bit, and right now, if you guys had to pick what you think is the best lineup after 11 games, could you pick what you think is the best lineup? There's so many movable parts and interchangeable people there.
Yes, I can, but it's on my personal biases. It's not on.
Okay.
It's
well,
not on facts.
I would love to hear it.
Well, it's not on facts. So I.
Well, I've
Matt,
got mine too.
Do you have yours?
Well, I don't. I like Levi behind the plate. I'll start there. I would put Levi at the plate. I think I'd leave Henry at third and let him work his stuff out. I like Manny at short. But if you put Levi behind the plate, who you going to put? Who's your best first baseman then?
Well, they had Newstrom there today.
That would be a good spot for Chris. That allows you to put somebody else in the outfield. So you got Blaine in the outfield. The outfield could be pretty set with Blaine like it was today, and Reese Chapman and Jay in center. But I like I think Taylor made a good point earlier. Unfortunately, I think Double A is probably just going to be the guy that comes in the late innings as a defensive replacement. Yeah. Unless you put him at second and give him a chance to work his bat out a little bit. What would you be different? How would your lineup, Matt? What would your lineup be any different than what I just said?
Well, always subject to change, right? You give me that caveat.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
If we were playing Georgia tomorrow and everybody's healthy, do I get that caveat or no? Like, is Grimmer allowed to be in the lineup?
Go ahead. Are you about to? Would you move Henry over to first base?
Henry would be in right field for me right now.
Okay.
Okay. I really liked what I saw from Levi at catcher, and I think that gives you more options in the infield. So I'd go Levi at catcher. I'm gonna have Grimmer at third, Manny at short, Bates at second. He's got one start. He hit 400 last year. He's had a hit every time he's gotten to play this year. I'd like to see more from Finley Bates, the SDSU transfer. He won Mountain West freshman of the year.
We are so deep. I completely forgot about him.
Well,
there you go.
We need offense right now. And then Newstrom, I'm having it first, and I'm moving Newstrom way up in the lineup. For all you Newstrom haters out there, argue with a fence post over Newstrom. He's got he's got a pure swing. He needs to be up in the lineup. I know it's easy to say after a good weekend, but he was my breakout candidate that I selected preseason. So then in left field, I'm going to go Myatt. That gives me the ability to DH Brown and have him for late game on the mound if needed. And then Jay would be in center and Ford in right. That's my lineup as of today. And I'm trying to think if I've left anybody out.
That's a pretty solid lineup. What do you think, Matt? What would be yours?
Yeah, I mean, I would keep Chapman in the right, just and leave Ford at third, just to try to get some chemistry and develop Ford there. Although he has struggled um, in the field, um, I think the top half of your order is kind of set. I like Jay leading off and in center. He works counts, will take walks, and is that speed threat that we just haven't had. Even though he does strike out a lot, I'm not sure how you could move him out of that role with the way the rest of the bats are kind of struggling. Um, the second baseman is interesting because there's just a couple of guys you can use there depending on the pitching matchup. Um, what they do with Clark, we talked about it with Tony. It will be interesting if they does he catch 2 out of 3 in weekends like in SEC play, like that changes what you do at first, especially because that I think he's kind of been penciled in there to start the year, but. We'll see. I want Grimmer back because he was unbelievable in those midweek games last year. I'd like to see him get some extended plate appearances to see what he can do. And then the Bowling Green catcher we just haven't seen yet. I'm kind of intrigued by a guy that's a center fielder or catcher. That's just such an odd combo that you got to have some athletic ability to do that. So I'll be curious to see what he looks like when he finally gets healthy too.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I've heard he's certainly going to be in the mix. Like he was a big time get in the portal, so just haven't seen anything from him. So I guess that's why I've left him off. But if if he ends up being your best catching option, then that really means like Clark or Stone one's going to have to hit to stay in the lineup.
And then that DH spot becomes huge as well. You got so many people that you could use depending on right left situations, stuff like that too. So, but I say everybody out there just calm down. We're going to be good. This team is going to be very, very good. We're just going to have to give this team a little time to develop.
Yep. Appreciate the call, brother.
All right. See you guys.
Matt, I think he makes a good point there. For me, 100%, this team is going to get better the further into it they get. How much better is TBD, and that will be the determining factor. Because right now, just from the little I've watched around the league, they're very middle of the pack in the SEC. Your tier one for me right now is LSU, Texas, Mississippi State. You could put Georgia, Florida, Arkansas for sure. That's kind of your top 6, tier 1. And then Tennessee's in that middle tier with like A&M, us, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Alabama. Very competitive, like not a team you'd want to see in a regional type, very talented. Probably some of the teams, Tennessee's certainly one of them, just as talented as the teams in tier 1. But not quite fully put together yet. And so for me, it's like, okay, what does Tennessee need to do to kind of get to that next tier? And I don't know that there's a better answer other than play enough baseball games, because we're gonna be on this for at least another month. It is the youngest position group experience-wise in the league. You've got one senior, Reese Chapman, who's really struggling and has been for a while now. And outside of that, you've got true juniors, redshirt sophomores, and true sophomores. That's young in today's college athletics. That's really young. And the upside there is that they're going to look miles different come May, June than they do right now. But there could be some rough days offensively until we get there. But today at least gives me hope. Okay, pitching and defense can keep us in the fight long enough to let these guys come around. You would like to think that Elander will get the thing turned around. Not turned around, but grow.
The hitting's going to come. Just, get a little bit better weather and maybe, some of these non-conference games here leading up to SEC play, build some confidence and just hammer some below average pitching. You need a few days like that where you're scoring 15, 18 runs. You need one or two games like that to build guys' confidence. But no, it's just a young team, and even the guys that have experience, most of them are playing a new position. I mean, and Ford hadn't really been a third baseman. Manny, obviously sliding to short. Clark, is kind of a natural catcher. So, it's just you got to have guys kind of learn how to be everyday players and learn how to hit in situations with guys on base or whatever. But yeah, you got all the talent in the world, but your pitching is plenty good enough to give you a chance every weekend, especially right now in the non-conference. So it's there's the potential's there plenty. You just got to have the bats come around, and they've done it pretty much every year here.
No doubt, Matt. No doubt. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time, Matt. It's a beautiful Sunday. Kind of an early game, so earlier than we're used to coming on Garza Law Extra Innings, but it's really good to be back with you as our version of the season opener. We'll keep it short and sweet. We will get out of here. Again, thank you to Proper Popcorn for sponsoring the show. Garza Law, as always, on Garza Law Tennessee Baseball Extra Innings. Shout out Tony Basilio and his entire team and crew and network and studio. Thanks for letting me come hang out. It's going to be a good season. Matt, always enjoy your time, brother. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful sunny and 70 Sunday in Knoxville. And we will be back with you in 2 weeks' time after the game in Athens.